Okay, I'm assuming that I've done all this correctly, but I will. Okay, I'm doing it live, so I'm just going to copy this into the project folder. Yeah, that one there. And then I deleted everything from here, so hopefully this should be what happens when you drag it in. So there you go, it's dragged in. And first thing is extract all the textures. And you can stick this in a proper folder, so fuck it, I'll do it. So call this textures. Materials. Now I'm doing the materials, and then yeah. So now you can edit them, and they're all auto assigned to this, which is nice. And then we go through the textures, and I will include this as well because I've forgotten it, but I don't know if this is cancel that, put that in the right folder, so copy that into there. Right, and so if we look on the materials, yeah, that's the right color and stuff. This one doesn't have the metal smooth assigned for some reason. The Uni doesn't do it, but that's fine. And that just, yeah, got the metallic, and then the smoothness is in that alpha, so that's good. And then this one, which is the symbols on the eyes, doesn't have that in there, and it doesn't have alpha clipping on, so we'll turn that on. And then yep, you need to go to these textures, which are the masks, and you need to go get it from grayscale, and so they're slightly better. And also set these to be black, and the smoothness is down at 0, which is kind of nice. I'm surprised the bit behind his glass is okay. There you go. That's because that's glass. So I need to turn off the, probably want to turn off the faceted shading on the glass, maybe. I don't know. You let me know what you think. I would turn that down so that's not got that lines on the glass, because it, you know, I mean, I'm not a super big fan of the Cinti asset look, but it's fine. It's fine, but I don't think it works on the glass. But you know, it's all, everything's personal preference in it, so many tweaks that could be done. Anyway, just yeah, many tweaks that could be done to have it as your liking. And so now I've put in a couple of animations, and so you might take loop time on that, and then I put in this one, which is just in looping that, and this one, hopefully this will work. There you go, that's using the shape keys, so that's just his mouth. And then this one is just him shaking his head no. So they're like super basic for now, but they do kind of do stuff. And so when we look at him, he doesn't have an animator assigned, and so in order to do that, let's say create from this avatar, and hopefully he's not lying flat forward. There you go, it's generated the right way. And so then we go onto him, and we drag in the idle from the FBX onto this, and it creates the animator controller and puts the idle that we just dragged in as the first one set as default. Now this is the main part that I wanted to explain to you about, like, and this is totally, like, how you do this is completely up to you. There's so many ways to skin a cat or whatever, right? But I would probably, I mean, it depends on, like, you don't need to do any of this shit, right? And if you'd rather me just make a bunch of animations that have like body and face gestures and stuff, you can do that, and then you can have just one base layer, right? But what I'd have is I'd have a layer for talking, which would be the mouth only. And so this is the base layer, which will have all your body animations and stuff. You know, you might have an idle, and you know, you could have a moving one, which would have a different clip in it, and then you could change between these based on some parameters. And then we'll put in a I mean, it doesn't matter, but you could have like a number, like a float, or you could have a trigger that, or not a trigger, you could have a ball that says like is talking. And it's on the mouth layer. I'd create an empty, right? And then this is new state, but I would literally call it empty just for sanity's sake. And then I would make a transition, and I would set the empty state to the default state, right? And again, there's so many ways to do this, but this is a pretty simple way, right? So then you just set is talking to true on the arrow going from empty to the head talk animation, and then for exiting it, is talking is false, right? And so this is on the mouth only layer. So you've got this little cog here. The mask is the important part. So we need to go back to this thing. Actually, no, you don't need to go to that, or somewhere. So I would create like, I might have a separate folder for animations, but you know, just for, again, for sanity's sake, I would say put in a thing, Astro Rolli avatar masks, and then here I will go animation avatar mask, and I'll call this AR mouth only. And then, because on the rig we've clicked create the avatar definition from this model, it has got at the bottom here, it's got this little Astro Rolli avatar thing now created. So on the avatar mask itself, you say use skeleton from, and then we want to find him, which is the first one because it's alphabetical, thank God. And so then we want to expand all these, toggle all of them off, and the only one we want is well, actually we might want a couple, right? Now I happen to know this, but here's how you would find this out. You go to the head talk thing and you look at the animation clip itself, and you basically want any of these tracks here you want included in your mask if you want that to be visible, because that's what I'm doing here is I'm making this mouth animator layer, I only want it to affect certain bones. And so what it's doing is it's going from empty, as in do nothing on this layer, sorry, and this is important as well, this one's a fucking real hardcore gotcha. You need to make sure after you make a new layer, you have to set the weight of it to 1, otherwise that will fuck you up totally. And whilst I'm here, I might as well drag in this new, well that's annoying, I bet you it's going to close again, yeah it's going to close again. So over here, is you go to this and you say AR mouth only, because that's what we want on this mouth layer, only the mouth. And so here's the animation clip. I am animating the deaf mouth position, and these are the skinned mesh renderer stuff on the underscore mouth mesh. So back under the mask, we expand all this, we find under the body, I need to fix some stuff here on the rig, because the body control bone should not be included. That's a mistake by me, but that's not important. What is important is you drill down the hierarchy, so it's under the body, under the head, and it should be, there you go, deaf mouth, and this is the mesh that is parented to the def bone. So we want that included as well. Just these two, right? And so this is annoying because I now have to, because I can't really preview it to show you, but I will do in a second. So that's the mouth layer. That's got the idle animation. What other animation did I make? The yes nod animation. So I mean, fuck it, we might as well do that whilst we're here. This is, so the mouth layer is in my mind, right? I'm making this thinking like, well, that's just for talking, yeah? So let's make this one which is like emotes. So basically it runs through them in order. So on this layer you'd have, your base layer is like full body animations and stuff where you've got like the characters walking around, right? Here, this one is the characters nodding yes and no, or, and again, like this is just me saying stuff that you could do. You could have layers for each arm. So you might want a layer if you want him to do full body stuff and point at something. You might have a layer where the mask is set up to just mask out his left arm. That would allow you to play. Again, don't forget the weight. Yeah, so left arm layer with a left arm mask would allow you to have special animations that only show the left arm doing stuff. And you could play them on top of the full body animation and it would sort of blend, it would layer them on top of each other, even though they're going down the way, which is fucking not, well, yeah, you get what I'm saying. Anyway, let's look. So this is a yes nod one, and all I've animated really is the head and the little antenna and the eye sort of pivot. That the eyes are parented to, but I don't know if that is even included. I think it just, the keys get written as the oh fuck, that's annoying. See, I thought I'd imported it and I didn't think these should all be included, because it makes it like, as you can see on the head one, it's only included the ones that I've actually animated. Here it appears like it's included lots of stuff that just makes this sort of slightly more confusing to explain. But yeah, I did animate all these antenna bones. I didn't animate the mesh because that's picking up from the bones. You know, I mean, if you look at the curves, we look at these, they're flat. Yeah, they're totally flat. So I mean, really, these are not needed, but this is inside the thing. It doesn't matter. It's fine. I'll tidy this stuff up for you, so it's less fucking, there's less clutter and stuff. You know, I'm just clicking now through. Yeah, again, it's flat, but it's keyed loads. This is stupid. It shouldn't be like this. Like, all these bones are not necessary. The only ones that are necessary are ones that. What do you do to see? Select all the layers. Ones that I can move up and down like this. Show me what layer this is on. I think it just flashed that. Nope. Yeah, that one's moving about. See, I know which ones it is, but I'm just trying to illustrate. There you go, that one. And maybe it's this as well, yeah, because that's the eye's pivot that each eye is parented to. Anyway, so for this one, the emotes thing, we will create another mask, and I will go animation, avatar mask, AR head, emotes. Put that on there. We will again create an empty state, and I will call this empty for sanity's sake, and then Alright, fuck it, I'm going to put, for laugh, I'm going to put trigger. So stupid. Here I'm going to say nod yes. And then I'm going to put in this. I'll make a transition, and on the conditions, we don't need an exit time because this is going to explicitly transition when nod yes is triggered, and then it is going to exit out. And I'm going to say this should not be looped, even though it can be because it's a looping animation. You know, it's better one time, but like, instead of having a trigger here, you could have a ball or something, and so you could turn it on and off at your leisure, but for the sake of sanity I will just keep that as is. And so I'm just going to really quickly knock up the script to show this. So we'll call this Astro Rolli animator. Not doing there, whatever. Trying to think if I've not shown anything else. I mean, I've been recording the whole fucking time, so I think you've seen everything that I've done pretty much. And I guess also for Seni's sake, I will play this now just to check that things are working. So right now, because only the one layer is happening, yeah, he's playing his little idle animation, which is great. And then here, I'm going to bring up this script, and this is going to be pretty yucky, but we're going to go public bool do talking is false, and a public bool do nod yes, which is false. And then in the update, I'm just going to say if do talking equals false, so we turn off that variable. And a fucking idiot, I need to go in the start, I need to say private animator equals that, and then here I need to say animator. What did I do? For the talking one I did a bool, which I can't remember the name of because I'm too fucking dumb. It simply is talking and nod yes. Okay, so it's talking, set that to true, and then we want an if do nod yes, animator set trigger. Was it nod yes or do nod yes? That one doesn't need any arguments because it just sets the trigger. Nod yes. Come back scripty thing. Okay, so this is going to set the bool true and nothing's ever going to set it false, right? So that's fine. Like, the reason I'm showing you this bool thing here is because I don't know, you're going to have a comic book thing pop up, speech bubble, that's what it's fucking called, idiot. You can have that pop up, right? So that's why I'm showing you this bool thing here, because I don't know how long the talking's going to last. So that's, again, I made it a loop animation, I believe. So essentially you set him to talk it, like, fuck it, I will show you. Actually, better than that, I will say if do talking and animator dot, yeah, let's do this. Bool is currently talking, which is the animator get bool is talking. So if he is not currently talking, so yeah, let me, we're always going to set the script ball to false, and then what we're going to do here is say if is currently talking, then set talking to false, otherwise set talking to true. And so I'm doing this horrible script, right? But you could use, you could have in your script somewhere like, I'm going to show a speech bubble now, so start talking, animator, and then stop talking. And that's why I'm showing you this thing here, because the nodding yes and no is probably like a one-shot thing that you want to have him happen once or several times. You can just keep firing the triggers at the animator and it will just do it whenever it gets a chance. Hopefully, if all of this fucking works. The talking though is like a state where you're going to want. There you go, cool, so it does work. So he's talking now, and then if I tick this again, he stops talking. And so if we look at the layer, it's on empty, and there's a slight delay there because in the transition I forgot to untick exit time, because again it doesn't need exit time, it has a condition, right? So now if I do this, he will immediately start talking and immediately stop talking. And the do nod yes is under this emotes layer, which I think I forgot to, yeah, I forgot to set up the mask for this because I'm a fucking idiot. So, oh, amazingly though, it doesn't need a mask, and I forgot in the script to tell the variable to reset itself, which is silly of me. But yeah, that fires through because it's a trigger. That fires one shot, so that's lovely. Mostly works for them, even though it's like terribly coded and it's buggy. It does do what it's supposed to do. And whilst we're here, let's grab this flames thingy because I've just realised that's not working quite correct. Turn that on alpha clipping, and here I made this emission mask. So if we go down here, set this to white, and then set this flame emission mask in there, and it just makes it sort of less bright at the top and slightly thing. But yeah, I can do a shader for that to make it like wave like the flags, you know, have the flames wave about at the very bottom of them to give them more oomph. What else? Did I set up this mask? That's a question. No, I didn't. Right, the reason that you need the mask, because it's not apparent here, the reason you need the mask is this nod yes animation thankfully exported correctly, and so no, it didn't. I don't understand that. See, this should be overwriting. What I'm surprised hasn't happened here is when he nods, it should basically stop the idle animation and he should be static, standing still. But for some reason it's mixing them kind of well, which is really surprising. I don't know if it will do both as well. Oh yeah, look, he's talking as well. That's insane. I guess they are set to override, like down, so the mouth is like overriding the ones above it on this layer thing, so that's why that works in that way. But this animation here, nod yes and no, it is keyed for everything. Oh no, okay, I'm incorrect. It's only from the head upwards, so that's kind of cool. It has sort of exported properly. It's doing the head and all the flaps on the head, which is great because it's not got any body channels in this animation, and that's why, even though it's not got a mask, it does really want a mask here, because then if you import an animation that has body stuff on it, because you've got a mask set up here and you've actually got it set up properly, like I showed you before, where you click here and you say this is the head mask, I do not want to, you know, you untick. Oh, and this is, yeah, this would be good to know as well. because you don't, this is what I'm saying, you don't want the body ticked, right? Because the idle animation has full body, it has this body track and stuff. You only want from the head. And so if you hold Alt, it says on the tooltip, if you hold Alt and you click, it will set yes for every channel, but like every child of the head, and that's what you want. But like I say, the animation itself, thankfully, has actually exported correctly. Let's just look again. Yeah, head, the head flaps, these things, the antenna, all that sort of shit. The idle animation, that's got everything there. That's got body, hands, arms, all that sort of stuff. So that's what the mask's for again. It's like if you have the masks out here, like I was saying before with the arm example, you could have one just for pointing, and in that mask you would set up, don't do the body, don't do the head, only do the left arm. And so you'd go into that thing here and you'd find left arm. Again, I'll get rid of this body controls one because that's stupid. Because these hands, these fingers should be children of the deaf body, deaf arm, deaf hand. Yeah, that's all fucked up. That shouldn't be there. Why is that? These are identical, aren't they? Yeah, that's very strange because it can't be a child of both this and this. That's impossible. Alright, no. It's something's duplicated, that's weird. Oh, I know what it is. These are control bones that I put into animate stuff. So ignore me, I'm rambling now. Yeah, if you wanted to make a mask just for the arm, hold Alt, click that. Then you'd have a mask for just the left arm, for example. And yeah, I think that's everything, mate. I have ranted for a long time now, so I will stop and hopefully